Love. Love. Love outlives us like trees. Love outlives us like the air we breathe. We help trees help us. When we draw our last breath, some tree will notice. Thank you so much for coming to listen to us tonight. Special thanks to Melissa Silito and the Show and Tell Gallery for having us. Melissa, thank you so much for organizing this caffeinated art series. I know how much time goes into this, and we truly appreciate you for creating this community here. Special thanks to Luke Leffler for doing our sound for us tonight, and to Madison and the Three Prince Coffee Shop for having us. You are the bottom of it all. I dream the distance between the pupil of your eye and that grain of sand in the Sahara on my dried bottom lip. Like a strange kiss that lasts for centuries. I've longed for a long time, carved the miles, swallowed minutes, yet I'm still here, more thirsty than ever before. You are the bottom of it all. I whisper secrets that don't exist, and the sand whispers, sings your voice to the rhythm of my dream, to the rhythm of salty water drops, salty visions on the other side of your eyes. Da 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 Ladies and gentlemen, my dear friends, Reagan Lindy on guitar, musical direction. Carrie Ann Kasich, vocals. It's a special privilege to introduce my featured friend, Bruce Green. Bruce is a lifelong teacher, a conscientious objector during the Vietnam War years, and a wonderful writer. Ladies and gentlemen, Bruce Green.
Goldfish, a story in 4 parts. I call it the 25-year test. What, if anything, that you experienced as a high school student remains meaningful 25 years later? It's the same as asking, did I make a difference?
Difference.
Teachers need to ask, are you or your lessons memorable or forgettable?
Forgettable.
While working with student teachers, I often invoke the 25-year test. helps a beginning teacher focus on writing curriculum that matters. It encourages the skill and imagination that natural-born teachers possess. It liberates their passion in an age of data-driven curriculum and uninspiring formal assessments that scream education is a business and must be run on a corporate model.
Imagination.
My arrogance served me well as a beginning teacher. Hardly visible, it took the form of cognitive certainty. I was sure I would do some things differently. My approach would meet all the standards, but it would also be visceral.
Visceral.
I wanted my students to feel something. Though I was hardly teaching in an age of apathy, many students were far too apathetic.
Apathetic.
It seemed all too easy for them to rely on a set of assumptions about what my social science classes would be like based on every other one they'd had. I too was taken by that romantic notion of youthful teacher with class. Sitting atop a student desk, I'd be tossing out incisive questions to enraptured students as easily as feeding pigeons.
Feeding pigeons.
The onlooker can see the critical thinking skills being developed flawlessly by what must be one of the best teachers ever to write on a chalkboard. That vision is nonsense.
Nonsense.
Enjoy it and move on. There's work to be done. If I had to nominate one lesson for the 25-year test, I'd pick the one I shared with a most unlikely teaching assistant. A goldfish.
A goldfish?
In 1976, while a third-year teacher, I found myself teaching the 12th grade elective called International Problems. Yet the majority of seniors I taught were like many seniors, fairly full of themselves. Theirs was a world still full of must-win football games, proms, first cars. Nixon and Watergate left them politically vapid. Punk rock glistened like condensation on their first beer. High school was for the most part to be endured, and the dreaded draft law had finally expired. Yet great moral issues were everywhere. My syllabus for international problems included units of study on apartheid in South Africa, nuclear weapons, the CIA as covert government, and U.S.-Soviet relations.
Ladies and gentlemen, the next number is the audience participation number. We asked you to make noises, make sounds, sing along, speak along, do whatever feels comfortable. When I make this sign, it's a sign to fade out. Thank you. Let's try it. It's called choices. Every day you make different choices. What choice to make? What choice did you make today? When I asked you that question, you didn't know what to say. You didn't know what to answer. What choices did you make? What choices did you make? What choices did you make? Choices. Every day you make choices. What were you thinking? What were you thinking? I asked you what you were thinking, and you didn't answer. You didn't know what to answer. You didn't know what to say. What choices did you make? What choices did you make? Did you make all the wrong choices? Did I make all the wrong choices? Did I make all the wrong choices?
Did I make all the wrong choices? Oh, choices. Did I choices? Oh, what choices? Choices.
choices did you make? What choices did I make? What choice did I make? What choices did I make? Did I make a wrong choice? Thank you so much for all the wonderful sounds. It's my special pleasure to introduce a great friend, David Cook.
Edges. I don't know where to start. Far before the moon pulled the tide to your chin, before your groin became a grotto, before the brine washed away the halos your feet squeeze into the sand. I don't believe in the alchemy of eels and their mud. It started before you felt their slither. I know where this ends. With lungs shortening and sinuses burning like sea radish, you tread and estimate how much longer you can stand. I know the sound of the ocean's throat. I carry its homunculus in my ear. The sea's words won't heal you. Neither will the earth. Though you press your heel on the folded edge of a spade and kick the ashes to reveal an ember, it glows, a window you stand outside of. The ground does not move. You visit the same stone. Eat a meal of lavender seeds, but it will pass. You think the horizon's distant line is not crossed. It slides like a floater on your eye. It flees your direct gaze like the moon. It moves with you as you drive the switchbacks to Grizzly Peak. You don't think you're in it. You need distance for each wet piece of dust to appear as fog. Stop pushing the sky to the edges. You know where the sea starts, where your land ends. The sky starts there too. I've got my fingers on your head. In the air is where you live. The sea loves only its own. The earth knows only the print of your stride. The sky is closer than the chill on your wet finger. It suddenly touches you, enters you. The sky starts somewhere near the bottom of your heel.
Ladies and gentlemen, introducing a dear friend, Sean Austin.
Lost eyebrows. A girl stands in the middle of the market. The only evidence to wind is the movement of her hair. Her stare reaches out like an owl burning on soft dreams, with eyes steady as the world. Behind her, our people stretch. Before her, the legions march. Far from home, I board a ship with her coin eyes still in my pocket. A sailor smells the sea and sighs. The shortest distance between 2 points is never a straight line. Even so, I offer poetry to the dead, to calm their assaulted memories, to invite the color of the wind, for death is never too far. We arrive on voiceless streets. We nod to each other. We nod to ourselves. The tapping of my feet warns the dawn, causes the cats to stop and stare. They are looking for their eyebrows again. Between the rooftops, gutters, and wet pavement of the city, because they cannot cry without them. Cat's eyes listen through time, and death is carrying their eyebrows.
Long time ago, friendships hung on mailbox hinges. In those summers between time, stretched round spokes, tearing down hills, straining up as we free fell, hitching ambition to stars we never thought to call. We never grasped the aching enormity of stark white, found in the darkened caves at the end of our driveways.
Part 2. With Jimmy Carter in the White House and the national nightmares of Watergate and Vietnam winding down, a story emerged that would not leave me alone. The My Lai Massacre. Our country was deeply troubled by My Lai. An American company of soldiers, Company C of Task Force Burger, had systematically killed all the inhabitants of the village of My Lai. The event had originally taken place in March of 1968, but after a cover-up subsequently failed and journalist Seymour Hersh was given photos and eyewitness testimony, the awful truth of My Lai spread like an infection throughout the media and world opinion. Certainly the slaughter of more than 500 women, children, and elderly wasn't making the world safe for anything. When helpless, terrified people are marched into ditches, when even infants are shot, when American troops sit down to eat their lunch amid the carnage, even the most militaristic of us take notice. The callousness of My Lai became an essential topic for any international problems class. It offered an opportunity to explore a burning question of the day with an equally important teaching strategy, the moral dilemma. What better way to teach critical thinking than to tackle an issue that begs for a deeper understanding? How could Lieutenant Calley's men blindly obey an order that resulted in the massacre of so many innocent people? The villagers of My Lai offered no resistance. Calley's men acted under superior orders. Only one man, Warrant Officer Hugh Thompson, a helicopter pilot, tried to stop the massacre. At one point, Thompson placed his copter between groups of frightened villagers and American troops, threatening to shoot at his compatriots if they did not stop the killing. Hardly anyone else present questioned these insane orders. Like many, I wanted to know why. Is there such a thing as moral emotion and action in war? Certainly I had my own opinions, but how to approach this in the classroom became an equally baffling dilemma. Of course, many of my students had heard of My Lai, but their generation learned about the world largely from television. On one hand, the media covered Vietnam like no other war, but even the first televised war could be dismissed with the flip of a switch or the click of a remote. Before getting to the particulars of My Lai, I wanted to find a test for individual morality under fire that I could present in my classroom. For a young teacher, this is a risk to weigh carefully. Still, I searched for just the right idea. I'm not sure how I found it, The paperback had an unassuming title, something like 25 Activities to Teach World Affairs. When it arrived, this orange-colored book from Denver, Colorado, contained an activity that held me immediately. It was called The Goldfish. The materials were easy to gather: a sheet of newspaper, a glass bowl full of water, and one lively goldfish. The premise was even simpler. Put students into small groups of 4 or 5 in a large circle around the classroom. Place the swimming goldfish in the bowl at the center of the room, surrounded by the groups of students. Give the verbal instruction in the most authoritative voice you can muster. Whatever you do in the next 10 minutes, no one is to leave their seat. Anyone getting up and out of their seat will fail this class. Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm not kidding. I want everyone to remain seated during the next 10 minutes. Failure to remain seated will result in expulsion from this classroom and an F in this class. Remove the goldfish from the bowl and place on newspaper. Wait. Announce the end of the activity. Debrief. Simple enough? Right.
Thank you. The engineer of my dreams leaves work early. She has other things to do, other minds to stir. For the rest of the night, my dreams are unattended, unreliable. They don't follow the rules like a drunken sailor overnight in an imaginary port. On the brink of attempting a discovery, I turned around and viewed with an estranged eye the road that had been mine. Then I realized in no respect is it different from the one ahead of me. So I stood on the spot, perplexed by the way things had been arranged to prevent me from moving, puzzled by the absurdity of choice, startled by new knowledge, suffocating in the symmetry of motionless living.
Reflections. To stains, to condensation, to reflections of myself, vanishing like the frosty brew someone has knocked out of my good hand, melting now on the green tongue of time. There are secret walls that eavesdrop, like a feather coated in smoke. Walls with liver spots, scared, bleeding walls that time is tasting with her green tongue. Walls that long to be touched, walls that reach for my hands. Steps with worn edges prefer a certain rhythm from my feet, a sapient percussion, a movement that pushes back out my kneecaps, into alleyways and through corridors where my footsteps echo back as ancient puddles drip and call my name.
Mentimos cuando soñamos. In bed,
We lie
I was told
when we dream.
I'll never meet the one
In that space,
because I only have
fall
one nightstand.
from
Feng shui and so
each
I
nod.
nod. It could be a
A
smile
toy,
and bite my cheeks.
sleep,
It's not,
sleep,
but it could be.
nodding,
Who do I nod to now?
nodding,
That smallest of hellos,
agree,
the tiniest of lies.
feeling,
Everybody
our
knows to
tongues
be polite.
rest
But
on
even to sleep I
an
know.
ocean
Sleep can't be strong armed,
floor,
twisted,
a flounder,
tortured.
feeding,
Lies would hide
cheeks,
where I was going.
sacking,
The smoking starlight
salivate,
where I had been.
motion.
Now I just click it
As if
like a eula,
sleep is
so I
a
continue.
meal.
Let me in. These are the lies we're
With
left,
a tinge
white or
of
colorless, practical, transparent.
awkwardness.
A lie so we can sleep.
I do it.
A lie to keep things
You
going.
do it.
A lie to sell us good.
We do it.
A lie of the willing.
Alone.
To cope without being
But
ascetic.
I lose.
All we do to deceive
My
is close.
hunger.
Close our eyes
I
and
sleep.
nod. Now we neither confirm nor deny.
As if I
We don't need the
were
devil
not in
to sit on our chest.
good
We don't need
company.
orange jumpsuits,
Trusted
blackout
company.
goggles. We have Hara's
Someone
hands
to
to cover
take
our eyes. We
the
save our
zombie
faces
side
under the cool
of
side of the
the
pillow.
bed.
We still don't
No sabemos
know what
lo que puede
nobody can deny.
negar nadie.
Insecure cravings of shifted mind, half the world in motion, other half still. You open windows to let fresh air in. You can hardly breathe in the dim light. Tomorrow I will send you a postcard with a beautiful view of an old cathedral. I hope behind its portals you will find yourself at least a temporary home. On my way to the cemetery, I stop to pick up flowers. The vendor's smile is gentle and distant, and I wonder, would you mind if instead of flowers I brought that smile to your resting spot?
A bangle seller walks through a Nepali village. He is Muslim. His gray beard, knotted and coarse, drags past his knees, and the children scream, Raksa, devil, Raksa, other, stranger, Raksa, beware. The salesman ignores them. He drags his ancient shell to the center of the village. He spreads his blanket in the sun and pulls his bangles out of his sack. Jangle, jangle, red and gold, jangle, jangle. He spreads his glass bangles out in the sun. The sun flickers against the gold designs. It turns purple, blue, black, purple, red, pink, and the sun lights up their glass spectrum, casting their beauty and beckoning the women. In his broken Nepali, the bangle seller calls, cheap bangles from the Ganges River, holy bangles, very cheap. He smiles, and his red lips like berries beneath the brush of his great beard. He crosses his legs, and he waits. Some hear cheap, other Ganges, and the women look at one another, and they too wait. The man smiles, a berry red smile spreads beneath his beard. This glass is the perfect blue, holy turquoise blue, the blue of the ocean. Their song is the rhythm of the sea. The man waves his arms, jangle, jangle, listen and you will hear the sea. A small boy, his stomach distended with worms, pulls a little stick weapon from his tattered pants. Raksa, I will kill you with my rocks and sticks. Boy, the man shakes a handful of bangles. These bangles were cooled with the Ganges River and were shined by the salt from the Indian Ocean. I will stomp on them, the boy challenges. And the man tosses a bangle at the boy. It is an alluring turquoise blue. And the boy brings it to his mother, and the women watch. They watch as she slides it up her arm, and it shines like a raindrop in the sun. The mothers who have been holding their breath, holding on to some forgotten fear, they laugh and they rush forward and they clutch at colors like birds pecking flesh. They poke at the salesman, they demand, they barter, and they seize their souvenirs. The stranger congratulates them on their shrewdness. You pay so little to wear something so exotic. Oh yes, they agree, yes, as they shake and they listen for the rush of the ocean in the jangle, jangle, jangle on their arms.
Part 3. Remove the goldfish from the bowl and place on newspaper. Wait. Announce the end of the activity. Debrief. Simple enough, right? Certainly someone would get up and save the goldfish. Someone would break through the veil of classroom simulation and refuse to let the goldfish die in front of everyone. That afternoon, I stopped by a local pet store and purchased one goldfish bowl, a small package of fish food, and a small goldfish net. I decided I couldn't afford to chase the goldfish around the bowl or risk it slipping out of my hands. A net would make me look efficient. I guess I always thought I'd put the fish back into the bowl if nobody moved. But would there be enough time? If I saved the fish too soon, the lesson would be lost. By 8 o'clock, the evening before the day of the activity, I began to get anxious. By bedtime, I looked at my goldfish. Earlier in the day, I'd given him the name Maury. It was close enough to moral dilemma. Maury, I told him, I sure hope I bring you home tomorrow, but you never know. Slowly, this activity was boring into my sense of serenity. I slept very little that night. International problems met in the afternoon. I kept Maury in his bowl in a closed cabinet behind my desk. And between classes, I'd look in at him. His welfare became extremely important as the day wore on. By class time, my heart beat faster than usual. This is stupid, I kept telling myself. Of course he'll be saved. Why am I so nervous all of a sudden? I took roll as usual. Period 6, International Problems, was a bright, engaged group, and I often looked forward to ending my day with these seniors. By now, my hands were shaking. I can't believe I'm reacting this way. It's not that big of a deal, is it? I guess it isn't every day someone or something might die in your classroom. The students made the small groups easily. With 30 students in the class and 2 absentees, they divided themselves into 6 groups, circling the room. I knew I'd have to give the directions in my most authoritarian voice. We're going to do an unusual activity today to begin this next unit. Why is it unusual? Richard Lee always asked a question before I was finished. It's unusual because the directions must be followed precisely. If you don't hear anything else this semester, listen to what I'm saying now. You must remain in your seats at all times. When I asked if anyone needed to go to the bathroom or get a drink of water, nobody took me up on the offer. Their curiosity piqued. When I made the threat of failing the class, a few giggles ceased. Then I added, I would remind you that this is a required course for graduation. You cannot afford to fail this class if you intend to graduate this year. Silence ensued. They were ready to begin.
The science of walking. Let's walk together, so my feet may remember the considerations of old men. A drummer once told me, everything falls into place as long as you have rhythm. Yet I lean the wrong way, bumping into your hips. How to decipher movements? I know it has something to do with a certain breeze that brings the leaves to my ears, soil and soft wrinkled palms, green tea and foggy windows, the language in which a cat's tail speaks, past the words, where an artist says, I don't need to understand the words to know the sentiments. Walk with me. Please walk with me. My heart needs to remember.
Thank you so much. You throw pepper in my eyes, but I keep staring with a smile as if it were Issa's cherry blossoms. You would do the same for me. You have. Your skin dies every day next to mine. A vague suspicion, sunflower seeds and Bengal's paint. Thoughts come alive with cherry taste before we notice. You throw pepper in my eyes, we laugh about it tomorrow. Names change, telephone numbers change. Love never repeats. You lock the door, you open the window. Love never repeats. You forget the details, your wounds heal. Love never repeats. Years go by, loves go by. Love never ends.
Part 4. When I produced Maury swimming innocently in his bowl, Karen Branch asked, "Can we talk?" "Of course you can talk. You just cannot get out of your seats for any reason. Got that?" "Yeah," Karen said. "Is that your fish? He's cute. What's his name?" "This is Maury. He belongs to all of us," I said. "Now watch carefully." I placed the bowl on an empty student desk and then spread the newspaper on the floor in the middle of the room. Maury came easily to the net and in 10 seconds was resting on the newspaper. I said nothing. I heard a gasp. Someone said, "Cool." Someone else said, "You a fool." And then nothing. Maury flopped at first, but then lay still. My heart pounded. How long would I let the activity go on? When one of the guys started to get up, another one reminded him that he was starting halfback on the football team. An F meant no more football. He sat back down. Another 20 seconds passed. "He's really going to do it," someone said. When another student started to rise, I snapped, "Sit down! You heard what I said about not getting up." He slouched back down. I decided to sneak a peek at my watch's second hand, and when I lifted my head, I was jolted out of any concern by the face of Connie Wong. Tears streaming, she pushed past me and placed Maury back into the bowl. "The activity is over," I roared. "Yes, you may now move. No threat of discipline exists. We've got a few things to discuss." Over the next few days, we talked about Kohlberg's level of moral development. It was easy for the class to see how most people, like Callie's platoon, are governed by level 1 reasoning. Their actions involve avoiding punishment more than doing the right thing. We talked about how difficult it is for people to go to level 3, universal ethical principles. An understanding of how My Lai can happen grew from these discussions. Now, I know this little goldfish activity is not a perfect parallel for My Lai, but I also know that both those students and I will never forget that day. When we asked Connie to describe the moment she knew she would get up and obey a higher order, she replied, "Well, I knew you wouldn't hit me." Not exactly the answer I'd hoped for, but I knew what she meant. Connie, like her classmates, was content to maintain order and obey authority. Ultimately, though, she was able to move to the highest level when it became necessary to obey a higher law. It was less about defying the teacher and more about obeying her own conscience. When I read today about student engagement and achievement gaps, I can't help but think about something so simple as the goldfish. Maury went on to live out his days in a larger aquarium with a peer group. All those seniors graduated, and many, I'm sure, have children who have struggled with the moral dilemmas of Iraq and Afghanistan. Richard Nixon subsequently pardoned Lieutenant Callie, who became a scapegoat for the entirety of My Lai. And last year, 2009, Callie issued a formal apology. While researching the transcript of his court-martial, I came upon this testimony of a private first class named Robert, one of Callie's men. Callie and Meadlo were firing at the people. They were firing into the hole. I saw Meadlo firing into the hole. Well, tell me, what was so remarkable about Meadlo that made you remember him? He was firing and crying. I thought of Connie running toward me crying. I'm sure she remembers that day well.
Elliptic. I tell them nothing is important. Seasons are cyclic, they say. I'll come around. But I disagree if they'd listen. They see their elliptic and level out the stretches in between. When my skin is taut with the sting of the sun's pull, and my hair smells of chlorine, even the days are thinner on this longer side. If folded, it's the rain and the colorless hills, the smell of the cellar while the weighted sun shims under the long night's chill. Flatter allows for speed in these stretches, so I can spill into the turns that wrap me in their color if they can catch me. I find no one can own things, the hump of a gibbous, the arc of the mean, the long haul for a glass of water when I fear where I'll go when I'm gone. I drive west out of the Caldecott into the hairpin turn to 13. I have always known if I go fast enough, I might remain in between.
You were there to be rained upon, and it rained. Then you smiled and the sun came out. Then you melted. Were you made by the rain or my imagination? Were you made transparent or incompatible with light? This was years ago, last evening. Since then, my heart is a raindrop. I wear windshield wipers on my eyes. Ladies and gentlemen, this next composition is another audience participation number. You know the rules. Just to remind you, when I make this sign, it's time to fade out. And in the meantime, you're welcome to make any sounds you like. Sing along, talk along, whatever works. It's called Not the Same. I was expecting you. I was waiting by the door. But you didn't come.
Where were you?
You didn't come. Where were
Why
you?
didn't you come?
Where did you go? I was expecting you. But you didn't come.
I was waiting right
I was waiting for you. But you didn't come. Where did you go? Where did you go? Why didn't you come? Where did you go? I was waiting by I was waiting right by the door. By the door. By the door. By the door. Where were you? 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 You are not the same. You are not the same.
Why didn't you come? You didn't come. I was waiting right by the door. I was expecting
not
you.
the same.
You didn't come. Where were you? You didn't come.
I'm not the same.
You are not the same.
I'm not the same. I am not the same. Thank you very much.
Odd hours. The mind's passion is all for singing out. Obscurity has another tale to tell. Adrian Rich. They emerge at odd hours, always crouched like wilting string beans or oversized soap bubbles, well over prime, instantly vulnerable, silent. In remote corners of their property, they'll weed a while, jerking the veins of unwanted intruders from their domestic carpet dream. It's what they have, what they control, what they do. When careers have yielded to succulence, they appear on weekdays with mid-morning saws, leaf blowing, edge and hedge trimming, fumes for the elms, oscillating decibels for infants, vibrations for ant colonies. Eleanor tempts the last light with an impromptu tour of her lawn. She hears crows descending and wonders about their youth. Never seen any nests, never seen baby crows, they just appear fully grown. Their numbers have increased. I wish Hitchcock could see the tree behind the alley. I could never make that sudden appearance. Mine was never a life of home owning. I care less for lawns than lives, slightly more for ideas than irises. When my road becomes a U-turn, I see my father in their eyes. I attempt again to find the contentment in raking leaves, capturing them all before another falls, and another, still another, always another.
The sound of your eyes. Trees shed memories and epochs. gradual as the sound of your eyes. I sense the falling leaves and turn to look for you. Empty branches, wrapped in distance, go on uncomplaining. Yet I am comforted by the vacancy of darkened wood, adding depth to a bird's song, composition to feathers. Like patient funerals, like tethered coffins, departing from a strange family with muted knees and sullen colors, where everyone pauses before speaking, before moving, before swallowing, as moments proceed like falling leaves on certain mornings.
You will see me in a dream, in beauty, with erudite angels by my side, with walls built of books and candelabras made of metaphors. This is how it was once before, forgetting. But the ticket is in your hand, transparent as it may be, and if you don't recognize me, this is only so we may enjoy rediscovery. Many lives fit in one, bridging a gap between wisdom and mystery. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to take a moment to introduce my team once again. The Moonlit Guthrie team. Bruce Green, Sean Austin, David Cook, Reagan Lindy, Carrie Ann Kasich, Luke Leffler on sound. Once again, I would like to thank the Three Friends Coffee House, specifically Madison, for putting up with us tonight.
And this night could not be possible without a Molotov.
Thank you. Thank you. And of course, special thanks to Melissa Silito for organizing these events. We appreciate your efforts. The day whispers away lessons learned, humility at my own weakness. I'll redefine myself every day for this beauty that we are, this beauty we carry and spread around. We think of this as now, but it will stay with us for as long as we are. redefine myself for you, the miracle of you, the miracle to ponder for as long as I am. Whatever happens, this beauty that we are is real. Love outlives us like trees. Love outlives us like the air we breathe. We help trees help us. When we breathe our last breath, some tree will notice, convert it to oxygen for other lovers. Love.
Love.
Love out lives us. Thank you so much for coming to listen to us tonight. We appreciate it so much. Thank you.